how it changes lives. I have Courtney Weidner in the room with me, and I am so excited because we are both thrilled that we are going to be launching a book. So this is our first time of doing this. We've got 3 more weeks that we're going to be talking about the alignment process and what we went through because it is a journey. And also, this is my first time on my new platform with a guest. And so far, it's going smoothly. So I'm excited because now I can start bringing guests on my other podcast. So I want to open up and I want Courtney to start talking about what her experience was with coming to the first Books in Business in April of last year. And then I'll follow with mine. And then we're going to just kind of go back and forth about this process because it's been an incredible journey for the last year for both of us. So Courtney, what was your experience like coming into Books in Business and what has started to change in your life?
Oh man, Kathleen, first, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. This is just going to be the most awesome 4 weeks. Where to begin? Well, our chapter that we have written in the upcoming book for Infinite Impact Stories of Alignment, I started my chapter at a specific date and time, and that was December of 2023. The alignment actually started just a bit before that, though. And it was how like all of those life chess pieces, everything just kind of like starts, locking together until we are on the timeline that we are most definitely on right now. And where I was in my life and what I was experiencing was a combination of burnout, monotony, very flat feeling. And I preface this to say my husband has given full consent to share what I'm about to share, because this is some new knowledge for a lot of people that are going to be watching this show. We were not in the best of places. We'd been married for 16 years. We've had many evolutions through our marriage. And we were at a point in time that I think happens to a lot of folks where everything is just there. And the passion's gone, the connection is gone, but everything just kind of is, And I compare it to a merry-go-round because it's like every day is like exactly the same, or Groundhog Day or something like that, right? And I was just at this place in my life where, maybe teetering on depression. I don't really know, but I felt very lost. And I was at a place in my life where I knew that there was something more to be in this life. This relationship is meant to be more. Like there's just something missing. And insert the story leading up to Books in Business, which I'm not going to give the chapter away on any of our calls. Save that for the book. But yeah, I was literally at a point in my life where I'm like, something has to give. Something, like our relationship has to rekindle. Like the intimacy is gone. Like I'm missing so much. My business, the same thing I've been doing for nearly 30 years. I'm meant for more than that. And my theme song at the time, I'm sure you know the song, What Was I Made For?, was on repeat all the time. I cried all the time. Like, what am I here to do? And I couldn't figure it out because I knew insurance wasn't it. Like that was totally not it. And what's not in the book is how my friend Buddy McMahon introduced me to a workshop that was going on. And I was at a point in my life where I was like, you know what? I need to lean in, to use the Amberism, lean in to some personal development work. It'd been a really long time since I'd worked on me. And I was aware of that. Like, I was like, this is probably part of what's going on. Like, I did a bunch of personal development work back in the day, kind of took a hiatus, and now I was feeling the effects of that. Come to find out, I was not living my core value of proactive discovery, which includes leaning into myself, learning about me, self-actualization, all of this, right? And hence, that's when the journey really started for me, was December of 23. Now, this was 1 month before Amber got the message that she needed to write this book, right? And leading up to Books and Business, a very cosmic day, January 7th of 2024, January 7th was the day that Amber had the conversation with Amy Post about writing the book, because it needed to be at Books and Business, right? January 7th is also my mother and father's wedding anniversary, my biological dad. And interestingly enough, January 7th is also the first day that I spoke with Isaac Stegman on the phone. And I was doing his workshop at the time. And we had connected on that day, had a brief conversation. And I had written in my journal notes that that was a really amazing conversation. And there's more to come with that. Like, I knew that connection with Isaac was going to lead to big things. And fast forward a couple of months, met Rusty, met Nancy Levin. Isaac was, or met, I say, introduced to virtually. And then Isaac introduced me to like the next thing that he was going to do. And he said, hey, do you want to come with me and do this? And I said, actually, man, you know what? I'm going to take a detour, because you introduced me to Nancy. Nancy introduced me to Hay House. And now I think I'm going to write a book. And he's like, because all of this stuff I was unpacking with myself about self-care and, you know, self-development and all of that was really coming into play about how important this is to feel alive in our life. And so Isaac's like, really, you want to write a book, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, all right, well, then you got to come with me to this other thing. I had no idea who Amber was, never heard of her before. Literally was like, wait, I don't have a book. I don't have a business. Like, this is a books and business event. People that have books in their business. Like, I don't know what my new business is, and I don't have a book either. So I like literally had no real understanding of why I was going to this, but the pull for me was so hard. Isaac also gave a personal guarantee. So I was like, all right, well, if he's willing to vouch for this event and Amber and this whole process and this book so much, like I'm in. Well, Rusty was going to be there and Nancy was going to be there. And I was like, and I get to meet Amber Vilhauer. Win, win, win. How cool is this, right? So that's really how I got to Books and Business. It was by a series of events that looked like me leaning into one thing and leading into another thing, and then leading into a book writer's boot camp, and me getting the download of, I have a daily self-care checklist for busy as fuck and burned out humans, and I need to share this with the world. And then I get, you know, I understand like Books and Business. Like, I literally bought a ticket just weeks before, was like, I'm going to invest this money to go to this conference, and I don't know anybody here. I'm going by myself. Oh, and P.S., you're going to get to talk on stage for 3 minutes when you get there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I don't even have a business. Like, and I'm going to get on stage and talk about a book and something that I don't even, my 3 minutes is on my website, y'all, whatmakesyoutcomealive.com. You can watch it there. And that is my first mini TED Talk ever, talking about what it is that I'm now suddenly understanding that I'm here to do. I don't know how much further we're going to go beyond that. You said get me up to Books and Business. I would keep talking, but I know we have 3 more episodes to tell the whole story. So I might shut it there. Did I get to that far? Do we want to go at Books and Business, or just up until Books and Business?
Well, let me get up to how I got to Books and Business, and then let's go about our time. I'll lead us into you and I meeting.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Okay. So I have always been talking about alignment anyways, and I've known Amber since 2010, 2012, and I met her through Judith Briles because she was doing the book websites for Judith at that point. So I had met Amber there, and so she says this, and we reconnected because she had sent out an email that said that business is changing. We shouldn't be going into fear tactics anymore. And I just happened to say, oh my God, finally we're out of fear to get people to buy your products, because I have never believed in that philosophy. And that opened the door for us. So she told me about this book that she was writing, and she said, you got to come to my conference. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. because I was still coming out of working through my unworthiness. I had just gone through this massive PLE with David Bear. And I was really trying to get dialed in on how to build the business, how to create the business, how to reinvent myself at the time. And she's like, you got to come. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Because I was going to be all by myself and I didn't want to put my big girl panties on at the time. I was like, where I need my support system and it was like, I had to have that conversation of, Kath, you need to put your big girl panties on. And you need to just grow up and start doing this, because if you want to get somewhere, you're not always going to have somebody there that you can hide behind, because it was so much easier for me to hide than to do anything else. So I said, okay. And it was met with a lot of resistance. And I had to do a lot of mindset work on myself about just getting there, not knowing anyone, knowing Amber, and it's all about business. And I'm a spiritual woo-woo person. Okay. And Spirit said, you're going. Okay. If you're telling me I'm going, I'm going. And I cried the whole friggin' time while I was there, because because I was being downloaded with so much information at the time. And I was such a misfit in my mind, because everybody was so about business and I was so about spirituality, but I could see how they needed to merge and come together. And I could see that. That didn't mean people understood it. But the one cool thing about this, when Amber says we have to do a 3-minute speech, boy, my 3-minute speech was like hours long in my head every night when I was practicing. It's like, what am I going to talk about? And the only thing I could say, my introduction was, do you believe you can fly? And the first hand that I saw go up was Courtney's. And then I saw Daryl Stinson's go up. And it was so interesting, because it was where I ended up getting on that stage and I just cried. And I didn't mean to cry. It just did, because I didn't know what I was going to say. I told Spirit, download whatever I have to say to reach these people. And we have to be done in 3 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. But the fun part, the cool part about that event was I got to know everybody in that room. And because everybody spoke from their heart. And when Courtney got on stage, it was like, wow, I like this girl. I mean, she's got blue hair. She's frumpy. She's using the F-bomb every time she turns around. I mean, it was like, I love this girl. And then I got to chat with her a little bit. And, she likes cats. She wants to do what I want to do, like have a cat rescue center and things like that. And we just talked about that and just got to know each other. And as I watched Courtney, we're going to start moving into the next part of the segment. When I started watching Courtney seriously take on this alignment thing, it was like, oh, she's in the honeymoon stage and I know what's coming next. And it did come next with her, and she just weathered it. And we all were just so supportive of where she was, because she didn't look pretty. I mean, she was in it, because alignment is not for the faint of heart. I mean, when you do it, because there's a honeymoon stage in alignment where like, oh my God, because I'll have her share what was going on at the beginning stage of her honeymoon stage, because this is really important to know. But then we were there for each other. And that's the thing, is because our hearts became more open. We became more realistic with each other. We weren't superficial, here, buy my product thing. We were, how are you doing? And really meant, how are you doing? I mean, there was a connection that I had never, ever, ever expected at that first Books in Business, because it was so profound. And I have friends today from that event because of how it worked out, because of the openness that Amber created at that moment. And she said, it's not like anything, and these are your people. And I thought she was nuts, and she was right.
Isn't that cool though?
I mean, because who talks like that in a seminar? Who talks like that? Mm-hmm. I have been to so many seminars. I have never experienced that. And on the last day of the event, I wanted to hide. You don't hide in Amber's event, because there's like 25 people. There's no place to hide. I'm going to go sit in the back of the room. Well, the back of the room was in the front of the room. So I ended up having these two beautiful Toms sitting next to me, anchoring me up. Now, I didn't know they were going to be on my side, but I was a mess. I wanted to go home. I didn't want to be there anymore. I was emotionally spent. And we had this one amazing exercise at the end. And I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to share. I wasn't going to do anything. And the two guys was like, "What'd you get, Kath?" Oh, God. And these are two very different people, okay? And they're like, "What'd you get, Kath?" And I'm just like, "No." And so I shared it with them, and they're like, "You have to read this to the room." And it was like, "No." And I did. Now, I was shaking, but the message was so profound as far as that heaven has finally arrived on earth. And that's the message that I received at that event, because of the people in the room, because they were the most genuine people I had ever met in a very, very, very long time. That for me, this was hope that the world is changing and people are willing to change. And that was my experience of the event and to me, that was so profound, because I didn't trust anyone. I still don't trust people, but I'm working on it. But I know why, and why I was the way that I am is in my chapter, and it'll kick your butt when you read my story of why this meant so much to me. So Courtney, I would love for you to continue your story up until September of next year.
Well, we got to do that next week. Next week is from B2B1 for B2B2. That's next week. Yeah. Oh, you froze. What happened? Did I freeze? The clock's still going. I don't know who froze. So, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, you froze for a second. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the message come up. I'm like, who's freezing?
Okay. Well, today we're only getting up to B&B and the start of the alignment, and I was going to talk about my avatar, my why, and stuff. Because next week is when we talk about from number 1 to number 2 and what happened in those 6 months.
Okay, perfect.
That's a juicy episode, and that's next week.
Okay, we'll do that.
That's the big change. So, but my experience at Books and Business, like you say, and this was one of Isaac's guarantees to me. He's like, everyone there is a human on a different level. And I didn't really, I'm trusting his word in this, because I don't know anybody going to this thing, right? And when I got there and I realized this is such a menagerie of people, like there's speakers, there's coaches, there's dental professionals, there's nonprofits, there's an angel lady, there's you, there's like just this a construction guy. There's just like this totally mishmash of industries, people from all over the world, literally, and I was just amazed at, and financial experts and things like this. And what blew me away was that the thing that we all had in common, number one, conscious, emotionally intelligent people, and everybody that was there, didn't matter their industry or what it was, they were here on this place, on this planet, on this earth to make impact, positive impact. And everybody's heart's in the right place. It just felt so good to be in that space, with complete strangers, truly. And it was a magical feeling to be there. It really was. And some of the exercises we did, and I'll never forget the one where, Bahare had us writing some poetry, and me and April are just crying. It was just so beautiful, Kathleen. It was beautiful. And you're right, made friends. My gosh, half the people at Books and Business I still talk to, frequently, and we all live all over the place. And it's great. And how our relationship has blossomed since April of last year. It's just, very, very cool stuff. And during Books and Business, this is when we got the introduction, right, to Infinite Impact. And we got that freshly printed copy before it was even published officially. And the exercises that we did, which are in the book, and the journey that Amber took us on. And I literally had no idea. I'd heard of Avatar. I've been in business for 30 years, right? I understand the idea of having your ideal client, right? That's a common business thing. But to do it in the way that it's done in this book, I had never experienced something like that. And I knew that here I am, I'm starting a new business. I don't even know what it looks like. Like, I know I want to write a book, and I know Rusty had planted the seed back in February about me being a coach and having a retreat on a beach so I could live my dream of picking up trash on beaches around the world. He's like, yeah, you could be a coach and coaching people on the beach and picking up trash on beaches while you're coaching them on their head trash. And I'm like, so it's like, I got all these ideas of all these amazing things that I could do to make an impact based on my life experiences and stuff. And, but I still didn't know what that was going to look like. Had no idea. So I'm like wide open, like, universe, show me how good it's going to get. Like, I'm just ready to get whatever I'm to receive. And I don't know, consider Books and Business a portal of some kind, because I think so many of us got so many freaking downloads in what, 2 days? Was it 2 days? A day and a half? Like, I don't even know how. It was an incredibly short amount of time.
I know, but it felt like a week.
It did. It was like so intense. And yeah, beautiful. And this is when I got introduced to Sabrina for the first time. And Amber took us on that journey. And, you know, meanwhile, like, even still, I'm doing the work in the book, and I'm doing a whole lot of the journaling prompts and all of this kind of stuff. And so 2 big things happened for me at Books and Business. I got my avatar, Sabrina, she started downloading, and I got my why, which is now.
And I had done so much of Amber's book prior to, so I wasn't going to waste my time doing all these exercises because I had already done all these exercises. And my avatar, Jane, I wrote Jane in 2017, and nobody wrote an avatar like I wrote Jane. And Jane hasn't changed because that was Jane, and I didn't like Jane because Jane hurt, and I hurt. And so that's how I know I was so connected, and nobody knew what to do with Jane as my avatar. And then I had done my core values. I always knew what my core values were. And Amber had put something together about a year before, I think it was. And she's like, well, you can bring this into your business. And it was just a little mini training she had done. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try that. And what surprised me with that was I had this VA, and he was a social media VA, and he would go rogue on me a lot. And he just wasn't there. I mean, we had meeting schedules. He wasn't there. He wasn't really doing the posting. He wasn't doing all this, but he thought he should get paid. Well, when I did this little training of her core values, and I looked at the contract, and it was like, he hasn't done one friggin' thing in this contract. Not one. Fired. And I fired him right there on the spot. And of course, all of a sudden he shows up. Oh no, let's do the no. And it was like, no, done, over. Because it was the first time I didn't have all that head trash of, oh, what if I'm hurting them and they as a family, and, you know, all that head trash. Well, did he care about me? No. Because he had no integrity. He didn't do what he said. It was all about him, and that it was the easiest thing. And I'm like, wow, this is how easy this could be to like save my life.
Those values, man, they keep us going. Like,
I know. And it was so surprising. Yeah. I was so surprised. But when I did the actual alignment, and that was when I was getting certified, is when I actually did the alignment, because I did the work, and Amber said, just do this and send it to me. So all I did was cut and paste the entire workbook of this alignment process. I cut and pasted it to her, and she said, wow. And I'm like, what is she wowing about? So I had to go back and read it in the way that she had it. And I went, wow, because I had never seen the whole picture. Because, you know, we know what we're doing up here in our head, so we never see a bigger picture. Yep. And I got to see that. And I went to talk to my business coach later that day, and I said, I got to tell you something. And he's like, wow. And I said, oh my God, she suffers in silence. And it was like, what do you do with that? I don't know, but it was what brought everything. I mean, it brought that clarity. And what was my thing that I say to people? Because my why was always saying, you're safe. I don't care who you are, if you're an animal, a baby, a person, a bird, it didn't matter what you were. It's you're safe, you're safe. And what do I say to myself all the time? I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. I had no idea that was a why. Now, we're not going to tell you how the why works, but it was something that was so profound because it actually completed the whole thing. And it was like, I could do this in my life. It didn't have to be just business. It's how I live my life. It's like everything shifted because there was a wholeness about me that I didn't know. And I was in this coaching program and I said, I'm bringing this on into my business because it's one of the best alignment processes I have ever experienced because everybody's so disjointed in it. And this was a complete package in a way that was mind blowing. And I said, and I already believe in this and I already do this. I just didn't know how to put it together the way that Amber did. And I think that's what was so profound about this infinite impact, because she does take you deep and you're going to go as deep as you want to go.
Facts.
Nobody's pushing you to go very deep because that's all up to you.
Yeah.
Because I know that when you're first starting on an alignment process, you know, putting that big toe in the water is very scary and you want to take it out because all of a sudden things are like shifting and you're like, whoa, what's this feeling? I don't know what this, woo, what's this? Why is this happening? This is kind of cool. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I do this, you know, because then the ego comes in and starts saying, oh, no, stop. We got to stop. No. This is not safe. This is not my routine. This is not the mundaneness that you talked about, Courtney. This is not that something. I'm here for something bigger than, you know, a 9 to 5 being in the grind of our world. And the ego doesn't like that. So you got to be prepared for that ego coming up. And that's where I come in. That's where Courtney comes in, because we have navigated through this to help you move further into that.
Yep, absolutely. And one thing I realized that I didn't share, just to be completely transparent, circling back to the whole status of my marriage at the time and all of this stuff, right? And I realized that I had a fear that the more I worked on myself and the better I got and the more I healed and the more I grew and evolved, that there would be this widening gap between us. And I was terrified of that. And I didn't want that to happen any more than it already was there. And so to everyone out there that might be at that place in their relationship where you might feel the resistance and want to hold back on your own evolution because you don't want to outgrow your spouse, sneak peek, spoiler alert. You can't even imagine what will happen when you lean into yourself.
It's very true.
Just going to drop that little nugget right there because we'll end up getting the whole there at the end of the 4 weeks. Like, just all that to say, I don't want to leave a cliffhanger like, oh shit, is she like on the verge of getting a divorce? No, it's way better. way better. And I realized that I was terrified of growing. I was terrified that everything might have to change. What am I going to uncover? What am I going to learn about me? What am I going to see that can't be unseen, learn that can't be unlearned? And now it's like, there's no going back. It's like, you can't put the genie, the toothpaste back in the tube, right? Like, once you know, you know. And I was terrified of what that might mean. My whole life might have to change now.
And your life can change.
It was very scary.
The thing is, though, when you talk about this, because I remember back in the old days when I was much younger, like in my 20s, and I was in a relationship and I started to do my own personal evolution because I was on the spiritual journey. And that relationship did end, but it needed to end because it was toxic. If it's not helping you, you've got to let it go, because you are so much more worthy of something beautiful in your life than staying stuck with a toxic relationship or abuse or any of that. So with Courtney, I mean, I haven't met her husband, but he knows how to kick her butt. And he's a good guy for her that way. And just knowing a little bit about, because she was ready to do whatever she had to do to keep herself going. And then surprise, of what happened. And it turned out that it wasn't him, because we love to point the finger that it's our spouse. It's never me. I got it together. And because we're women, we know we got it all together. That's what we do.
Always
Okay.
room for growth, ladies and gents. I'm just here to tell you, like, don't ever think that it's all just them.
It's not, because what Courtney discovered through a meditation that I created, that actually, because it's helped me a lot. And I said, I got this meditation, you might want to listen. And she did. But the whole point is that that meditation took her deeper, and it took her to go, oh my God, he's been saying this, and oh my God. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, we'll cover that week 4. Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's part of the story. It was huge. It was huge.
Because it was so huge. And I was like, what? I mean, I was stunned by what she discovered, because she's like, this really is about me, and it's not about him. But see, that's what taking responsibility is. Being in alignment is taking 100% responsibility for everything in your life. If your relationships aren't working, it's because of you. It's not them, it's you.
We all have a part. We all have a part. And what does my part look like? And I was so hyper focused on his part, where the gaps, why the gaps were there, his reasons the gaps were there, but not my reasons the gaps were. We're all on a growth journey, Kath. We're all on a growth journey here. Yes. And so, the timing of Infinite Impact, and when it landed, and when Books in Business hit, I was at such a groundbreaking, like, crack me open, see what comes out, like reinventing myself time of my life. And that book could not have come at a better time. That event, those couple of days, meeting everybody there, meeting you, and like everything that has followed since, it's magical, like unbelievable. And when I talk about this alive feeling, and people are going to hear me talking about that a whole lot, because now my new business, Aligned and Alive, is a result of this work and figuring out what I'm here to do. So often I hear the place that I was at, like, what am I here to do? Like, I know there's something else I'm supposed to do here before I die. What is it? I can't see it. I have no idea. I've been doing the same thing for so long. This is all I know. This is what I'm good at. This is where I'm safe, right? This is my comfort zone. I'm the master of this freaking domain. But you know what? It's not enough. And then insert the guilt and the shame for, why isn't it enough? You have everything. You have a house, you have a family, you have this, you have a roof over your head, you have food in your belly. Like, what's your problem? Why isn't it enough? There's reasons. And it's not, once I figured out my why in this whole love business here, like, boom, like fireworks, like life is suddenly making so much sense. And it's because I kept digging in, like you said, and like peeling back the onion layers, and really figuring out how much love is for you, safety is for you. Like, and when we can, as a collective peoples, figure these things out for ourselves, like, again, this is like that level of self-actualization and an expression of self-love on a whole nother level.
Well, that's
when we change, the things around us change. So
exactly. Always. If you don't like your life and you don't like your world, change you. That's how it works. It's always how it works. I've been saying that my whole life, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
And I know
when
that
lost and don't know what to do.
Right.
Do you, like, lean into you, and then the answers come. That's how it works.
Yeah. Sit down, meditate, and journal, and use pen and paper. Not a typewriter, pen and paper.
Yes,
let that creative stuff come through your mind and down through your hand. Even though you're talking faster in your head than you write, but what comes out is what you need to hear.
Yep.
And that is how you write. That is how you connect with your higher self. That is how you connect with your spirit, your angel, your intuition, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I know, that when I discovered my why is safety, it made coming out so much easier. I mean, this is like the third podcast I'm doing this week, people. Okay. I have one that I've been doing for over 2 years now. I'm on another one for my aromatherapy business that, I'm going through going, okay, Mr. Host, you have to tell me what you don't know because I already know all this and it's common sense. So I don't know what you don't know kind
Right.
of thing, because it's like, you need to guide me because I want to help your people. So, I'm learning not I don't like the word dumbing myself down, but coming down to a level that I haven't been in a very long time, because, my aromatherapy is over 30 years old. That's a lot of knowledge in 30 years that I've gained. So to me, I think everybody else knows this. And this has been one of my biggest problems. I think everyone knows these things when they don't.
Right. What's common knowledge to us? Like, talk to me about insurance. Don't put a dime in me about insurance because I can talk for 3 hours. Like, people don't know those things. Like, yes,
Right.
it's just it's this encyclopedia's worth of information up here. Yeah, that you got to bring it to the people and extract what they need to know out of it.
Right. And so when we talk about our avatar, the way we're talking about our avatar, it's about going back to a previous version of who you were. That's why, I can tolerate Jane now. I don't hate Jane anymore because I don't hate me anymore. But because I understand Jane in a way that I'm not emotionally attached to her in that way, because when I wrote Jane in 2017, I was her. That was the epitome of where I was. And I stayed in that place for a long time because I didn't know how to get away from her, which was this alignment process of finding, because I'm going to tell you guys something. I have an unworthiness issue, but that's not the core belief of me. My core belief is I was unlovable. Well, I worked through that one, but the byproduct is unworthiness. And that is what I'm working through now, because alignment is helping me to realize that I am worthy and I am deserving. Because of the safety that I feel, I can own that, I can embrace it, and I can step through it in a way. And I see like all these patterns that I created to keep compounding that unworthiness issue.
Mhm.
Because when you become present and you become aligned, you start seeing how you keep perpetuating your garbage, because we're creatures of habit. It's not
Oh yeah.
something that we do intentionally. We are creatures of habit. It's how our brain operates. And because of doing this show, I have learned so much because of the people that come on that explain how the brain works and what we do. And we make up stories. And that's why we love drama. And I was like, and I hate drama, all these things. So when you understand how your body works, then you know how to navigate certain things. So when you say be present now that's easier said than done when you're in your crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my show Tuesday on restlessness because I've been very restless. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back into my old patterns, not like I used to, but they're still there. And it's like, okay, I forgot. And thank God for Courtney, taking the little 2x4 and popping me on the head about that. I'm building something really big. So the foundation, so it's going to take a little longer. And it's like, yeah, but it seems like it's been going on forever. But then when she said that, it was like, oh my God, that's exactly right. And I forgot that because I'm so focused. We get so focused on the destination. It's not the destination, it's the journey of our becoming. And when you stay on the journey of becoming, everything changes. And what does Amber always say? If you're getting off course, go back to your core values. It will bring you back into alignment in a heartbeat. And it does.
Yep.
Every single time it does.
It so does. I can directly tie when I'm feeling cross or like shit about something. Chances are there's some sort of values violation going on. It's something's not being met, something is completely violating that value, or it's not being honored in some way. Yeah, there's that's now that I have all that information and that clarity. Before I didn't have it. And so it was kind of like going through life and I'd like bump into things. I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. That sucks, and then and then like now that I have my values and I actually have like written paragraphs, like you can see them on my website. So you can see what I'm talking about. When I read them, I'm like, absolutely me. Absolutely me. Like that's just, yeah. So if nobody's ever done a values exercise, highly recommend it. It's incredibly powerful stuff to know yourself on that level. And you say, if somebody may ask you, do you know your values? People say, oh yeah, honesty, integrity, you know, and they rattle off some things, and it's like, it's deeper than that. It's a lot to consider. Yes.
Because you're owning it. And that's the thing is, we need to own what we believe in. We need to own this and accept that you're here for a reason and you're a cog on the wheel in this world called life, and you are so desperately needed for this planet to wake up and help her ascend, because we are in an ascension process, and it's going to flip, people. It's going to flip next year, and you have to make that decision now, because I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know it's going to flip, and we're going into the better. The separation is already happening. We're already moving away. That's why this chaos is the way it is. And even though I'm aware of all this, I still get caught up in it because I'm still part of the planet. And sometimes we have to step back and look at, is it me or is it something around me? And a lot of times it's what's around me and not always me. So I have to detach so-called from the race mind to get back into that peace and tranquility. And what are some things? What makes you feel good? This is the self-care part. What are the things that make you feel good? Is it meditation? Is it going out, hugging a tree, sitting in your backyard? Whatever it is, because you need to stay grounded and stay in that happy place. Because if you're not happy, you're not in alignment.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that's why I say, really be objective with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't sit there and do, I knew this about you kind of thing, because you're the only one who does that. Nobody ever treats you like that except for you. And you need to just start being gentle with yourself and love you, because you are a cool person. I'm a cool person, even though I spent my whole life being told, why are you here? Why don't you just die? Literally, people have told me, I wish you killed yourself, because I brought light to the planet. I brought truth out. I didn't understand that, but I do now. And now it's like, don't freaking care. You know, you don't like me. There's the door. I didn't invite you in. You came to me. I didn't come to you. You know what I mean? And it feels good to stand in my power. It feels good to finally have boundaries. And it feels good to have a mouth, because for so long I didn't have one.
Yep.
And that's where you build your self-esteem. That's where you build how you're valuable and worthy. That's how all these magical people come into your life, is because you changed. Courtney wouldn't have come into my life if I wasn't willing to make a change. Some of the people that I have had in my life are like, where did you come from? And it's like, because you shifted. I mean, I made a decision one day to be, I made a decision one day I was going to be happy. And all of a sudden people are like, hi, how you doing? I'm like, why are you talking to me? Because I was so used to not being seen and invisible that it freaked me out of like, why are you talking to me? Why are you being nice to me? And then it was like, whoa, Kath, you made a decision. You wanted to be happy. And that outward expression showed to the world where it was coming back, and be with it. I mean, that was one of the most profound things I ever experienced about, you want to see your world change the way you get rid of the Eeyore attitude and go into being happy.
And I just want to acknowledge you real quick, for somebody that has a whole thing about isolation. You, ma'am, 3 podcasts this week are being very visible now. Hello, alignment. Look what it does. Look what it does. Yes. So just one minute thing.
This would never have happened without the alignment. It never would have. I mean, I was doing alignment, but see, the thing is I was on a network that's closed. And when they closed, and I decided I was still going to do the podcast, The Journey of an Awakening Spirit. The first time I went live on this platform, it was like, oh my God, where are my people? I'm like exposed. And that's how it felt. I was so vulnerable. It was because I didn't realize how much I was hiding behind the network.
Yep.
And yet here I am now, like, okay, here I am, folks, take it or leave it. And it feels good. But that first one was like, I wasn't that nervous doing my first podcast through the network as I was doing it solo by myself with no team behind me.
And look at you now.
And now I'm like, yeah, the girl is on fire and I'm coming out, you know?
Right? Oh, we need a theme song to this. Yeah. That's awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, next week we're going to pick up right around the end, like what happened right when we left books and business. And in that short time span of 6 months, that went from just tapping into infinite impacts and the effects of 6 months later.
Yes,
Great
definitely.
conversation. Yeah.
So I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today, and the little bit of chat that's been going on. And yes, you want to see the world change you is exactly right. And we are all beacons for people to find us, and we will find them. And that's exactly right on the money there. So we will be here next Thursday at 10 a.m. We will be dropping in the link so you can catch this on the replay as well if there are some tidbits you want to know. And feel free to reach out to either Courtney or I. You can reach out to me at kmf@kathleenmflanagan.com.
Before we go, I'm putting the book link in the chat, everybody.
And put your email in there too, Courtney.
My what?
Put your email in there so if people want to reach out to you.
I'm going to do you one better. On my website, I have a contact me button, and I would love to have a 30-minute chat with anybody that would love to carry on this conversation. You can do my contact me, and that will send you my Calendly link so we can actually book a time. And
I have the same thing on my website that I just put up on KathleenMFlanagan.com, and we really mean it. Feel free to check us out, talk to us. I mean, we're about helping you, not always about taking your money, so to speak, because we really want to make that connection. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we will see you all next week.
Yes. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.